I just actually wanted to take a moment to thank some of the sponsors. As Jamie had just mentioned, when we were scrambling around asking people how they'd like to help, how they'd like to contribute. The coffee today was from Recess Coffee. Our lunch is from Alto Cinco. Those amazing muffins and brioche were from Green Hills, like I mentioned, from Heather. As I list the sponsors, if somebody's here representing you, if you could just kind of stand up and give a wave so that we can put a name with a face. Well, Edible Finger Lakes is first. I don't think anyone's here from Recess Coffee. Let's see, Alto Cinco, no one's here. Wise, Joanne Weaver, we met this morning. Our press did all of our invitations, those gorgeous invitations, and our programs today. And we have Melissa from the Environmental Finance Center, and Syracuse First, Chris. Chris is an amazing advocate in the community. If you haven't heard of Syracuse First, it's all about putting our communities, businesses first, hence the name. And if you haven't heard of him already, I would definitely go check out his website, see what he's involved in, and start supporting that organization as well. We also had some individual sponsors, such as Will Lewis, who's not able to be here with us today, and Better Brittle. Christiana has actually been kind enough to supply us with our Save the Dates, and she's actually been a client here in the Southside Innovation Center before, and still is. But thank you, Christiana, for these delicious treats. I just wanted to say thank you to Michael for popping in at the last minute. I wasn't expecting him, but if you haven't heard of Edible Finger Lakes, it is a magazine, basically a template for local food stories. They can just pick up in any community throughout the United States. I believe it started in California, and it kind of spread really quickly with this template, and he's going to talk a little bit more about that right now. Can I use it as a cheat sheet?
No. So I'm terrible with microphones, so I'll do my best over here, but I just had to tell you that Abigail.
Oh, Michael!
Is actually in this issue. Where are you? Here for the next section. So you should definitely pick this up and read about, if you don't know about it already, the amazing work that they're doing here, that she and Marty and all the folks, so there's a really big shiny shot of her that with the work that they're doing here, and some more information about the test kitchen and the businesses that they've supported. So definitely check that out. And we've got copies over here for you. No, you can. So thanks so much for letting me come up and talk with you. Thanks for that delicious lunch. I will go anywhere that there's free Better Brittle available. So no brainer. I had no idea. That's nice. I'm going to steal all of your uneaten packets.
There won't be any.
So so as Abigail said, my wife, who's over here as well, we publish Edible Finger Lakes together, and we've been doing it for 3 years now. We started in the spring of 2008, and we're a magazine that's promoting the local food, farms, wineries, chefs, cheesemakers, bakers, brittle makers of the region, and really helping people that live here and that visit the region through stories and photos get connected to those products and get excited about them, and learn about the people that are making these products possible in a way that makes it really centrally appealing. We're really trying to connect people to what's exciting about fresh, healthy, local food, and not just what it makes sense financially, in so many ways, but we're trying to really appeal to people's senses in a way that gets them excited about the fresh food that's being grown here. And so, as Abigail mentioned, we are part of a network of magazines across the United States through a company called Edible Communities, who started in Ojai, California. This couple, Tracy Ryder and Carol Capali. And Tracy Ryder is actually from Central New York. She grew up on 10th generation family farms not too far from here, I think near Utica. And started a magazine for the Ojai section of California, which was is an agricultural area that feeds LA and Santa Barbara and some of the more populated areas in Southern California. They started a little black and white magazine that was just telling the stories of farmers in their area and getting people connected to local food. And it started getting some attention, and other communities across the United States wrote in saying, hey, we want to do edible whatever, from where they were. And that was probably 7 or 8 years ago, and so there's now 70 communities across the United States publishing these magazines. And they're all independently owned and operated by people who live in those communities and are excited and passionate about those communities and the local food and agriculture that's being produced there. So I want to tell you a little story about how this area fits into all of that in addition to our magazine. So every year the edible publishers get together and we all connect about the magazine world and ad sales and what's going on in the world of magazine publishing. And so, and we actually just got back from this last week. The first year that, before we had even published a magazine, my wife and I went down to the conference, and we didn't know anything about magazine publishing. My background is as a chef, and my wife's a yoga teacher, but we knew we wanted to live here and promote the local foods of the area. And so we go to this conference, and there's all these veteran publishers who have been around for years putting these magazines out and promoting local foods. And so I should tell you, the very first edible magazine that started after Edible Ojai was Edible Cape Cod. And this couple has been very successful at publishing Edible Cape Cod, and they've got a huge readership and really well respected within the community. So Zoe and I my wife Zoe and I are wandering around this conference, with big eyes of, oh my gosh, what have we gotten ourselves into? And, this is really amazing. And so the editor of Edible Cape Cod saw my little name tag and walked over and poked me in the ribs and said, I would kill to be able to tell the stories that you're going to get to tell in the Finger Lakes. And it was like, wow. No pressure. But what it started for me in that one moment was a realization that a lot of eyes are on the Finger Lakes. A lot of eyes are on central New York and western New York and what's happening here. And I think the reason those eyes are there is because the movement is really growing here. There is a stronger, by the Saturday morning, integrated approach to how we eat. There's farmers talking to chefs. There's food distributors talking to farmers to get their products. There are new stores opening that are focusing on local foods, like Green Planet Grocery is here. So people are paying attention, and they're paying attention to what's working here. So one of the reasons I wanted to tell you that is, we're all here in a building in the south side of Syracuse on a Saturday afternoon, but there's 70 other communities, that are doing similar things. I brought magazines from other edible community areas, so you can see, we're all here, we're all watching these TEDx speakers, and it's really exciting, but it's not just us. It's a much bigger community across the country of people that are interested in this. And so I think it's a great opportunity now for us to just keep growing. And I was thinking about this as I was sitting there eating a burrito, how many people in the room today are here reluctantly? Did somebody bring you? Are you all pretty much already in the movement? And you already drank the Kool-Aid, and you're like, yeah, we got it. I bought it. You're in. All right, good for you. You win. You get a prize. I'll give you something. So my challenge to people in the room is quit keeping it to yourself. Get other people here who are on the fence, who are yeah, I hear about local foods and whatever, but they're expensive, or I don't visit farms or whatever. Challenge yourself to start saying, when we go to these things, who's my friend that could probably use a little push and hear a speaker and join a CSA and visit a farmer's market, and to increase our numbers so that there are more and more people committed to the movement and supporting, and not just from a sense of obligation, but excitement and enthusiasm, because it's just great. I mean, it really is, going to the farmers markets and meeting the Meg Shaders of Wake Robin and Christiana, who's doing great stuff, and you know, I see it as a big party that just is delicious and wonderful and super. And so that's my my message to the group is like, open it up. You know, really get people who you think would be really excited about the local foods movement, and also be passionate to get out on a snowy Saturday morning and hear some folks go on and on and on. So that's my challenge for 2011. Hope you take it on. And thanks so much, and I'll see you around.